Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna.
And I'm Judy.
And it's great to see you this morning. Happy Wednesday. We have a split screen today. I am here with my good friend Judy Taylor, and the content of the show today will be to talk about our new upcoming magazine called Magpie Times. And I bet a lot of you are here to brainstorm, hear some ideas, learn about how it's shaping up, figure out how you might pitch in an article or images or work or what you might be working on while we're putting the thing together. We will get to all of that in just a minute. Carol, good to see you. Good morning. Oh, there's a lot of people on today, Judy. Hang on, let's just give a quick hello so we know who's here. Anne, my love, great to see you. Kirsten, good morning. You're making some homemade tapioca. That sounds great while the vacuum rages. And Judy, I know you can't see the comments, so I'll tell them to you and I'll stay on top of it. Carolyn, great to see you. Oh, you are, I don't think I've seen you yet. Your first time here. Fantastic. You are from Aberdeen near Scotland. I know that area. What a beautiful area. Super big welcome to you. And Kirsten says, welcome also. Kaz says, Happy New Year from Wisconsin. Great to see you. Joyce logging on from Pennsylvania. Happy New Year. Great to see you too. Andrea logging on from Dorset in the UK. It's wet and windy, just as one would expect. It sounds beautiful. I'm anxious to hear about how your weekend away was and how things are going over there. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Sharon in Vancouver. Cool and damp over there. Sharon, great to see you. Welcome. Crystal, great to see you. Happy New Year. It's happy and gentle so far. We'll see what happens next. I hope for you too. And for little Vera. Ryan, great to see you. Happy New Year. May all of your hopes and dreams come true. Peace and love to you all. Ryan, I love you. Happy New Year. Robin, great to see you. Finally back in Wisconsin. I'm so glad. Happy New Year. Judy Phillips logged on. Happy New Year to you too. Pam, great to see you in Liberty, South Carolina. Coffee time. Chrissy, great to see you too. Happy New Year. I hope you got your G's bend pattern and you're working away on that. Great to see you, Linda B. Exciting day there with Judy and Deanna. That is true. Cats Gallery, great to see you. Welcome. And Karen Garby logging on in Black Forest, Colorado. I will see you in person soon at the end of February. Great to see you. Lisa in Pennsylvania, great to see you. Welcome. I will keep an eye on the comments because this is a big brainstorming episode today. So, Judy, I have to say, I love how you can turn on a dime. I love that you're the kind of a person that I can say, should we do a show together tomorrow? And you say, sure. I love that. Life moves fast, right? You have to catch it when you can. Catch the cat by the tail, the tiger by the tail. So we want to talk a little bit today. Well, first we'll introduce ourselves because I noticed in the Facebook group, my Facebook group, Judy's going to tell you about all her sort of avenues of work and media as well. But in our Facebook group called no, it's not. It's not called that at all. It's called Punch. Oh my gosh, Judy, maybe you should be doing this part. Rug hooking and Punch Needle Club, Facebook group Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. We tipped between New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We tipped 17,000, which for a rug group is extraordinary, and
That's really good.
it's good. I'm super proud. There's such a good, reliable, forthcoming, friendly, huge stable of people to help with any sort of problems. In fact, I just saw someone having a serious mini punch emergency, quite serious. But it's great to be together and to be able to exchange information. So I'll introduce myself quickly. If you are one of the new people who logged on and joined over the holiday and you're finding us for the first time, I will introduce myself and then Judy will introduce herself. Goretti, great to see you. Happy New Year. So that you know what we're doing, you know the current project that we're sharing, and a little bit about our side projects. So if you are here, maybe you know me already, probably you do, but this show runs on Monday and Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time as coffee time. And we look at books, we look at projects, we look at news and festivals, fairs, rugs of every sort. On Friday, we run a show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that is a 2-hour show. That is just a longer, sort of larger topic and a bit more drinking and a bit more fun. So I am here for you 3 times a week live, and Ribbon Candy Hooking is my brand. I am now joining forces with Judy for I think what will be the most special ongoing project that I have going in my life, which will be the Magpie Times, a magazine project that I have been looking to start and hoping to start for the last 3 years. And Judy, we've talked about this so many times on the show and saying, oh gosh, we always look at Rug Hooking Magazine, we look at Atha Magazine. They are both respectively fantastic, very, very different. But I have always mourned the loss of the periodical called Wall Street Journal because it had a bit of a scrapbook, yearbook, friendly quality to it that is not like any other magazine that's available right now. And this is kind of what we're putting together for you. Something a bit more nostalgic and different. Do you think, Judy?
Yes. Yes. The only other thing that I would add
Yeah,
is that ATHA and rug hooking only cover rug hooking.
true.
Most of us like to doodle in lots of different crafts. So we're going to try to broaden it out a little bit more.
That's a great point. So that's a great point, and I think that's the main point. Besides the sort of tone, the constant shout outs for work from all of you, it is like it's an all fiber, right, Judy? An all fiber periodical, and maybe even pushing that as well, because I don't think there's many of us who are just, as Judy says, rug makers. I think a lot of us do other things, knitting, crocheting, needle arts, everything, right? Felting, everything.
Like your book,
Yeah,
where you covered rugs, even some old time forgotten ways to make rugs. That was so exciting.
yeah.
So
Those ways should not be forgotten.
yeah.
Yeah, in different, different methods and mediums around the world are more popular in other places, and that's something that we haven't been super cognizant of in the U.S. Like looking at other people's forms of rug making in a respectful way and going, I love the way you're working on burlap with all of that garbage that you were going to put in the trash. We're a little less like that in our approach. As a rug cooking community, but it's great to look at other forms. It's great to try other things, and hopefully, this magazine will serve as a bridge to show you other related crafts. And even saying the word crafts, Judy, I struggle because there is a stigma about the word crafts, and I have never understood it. Because if you say to someone, this thing is handcrafted, or this person is a craftsman, that's fantastic. But if you say, I like crafts, people are like, take your pom poms and go. Take your popsicle sticks and get out of here. It's true, isn't it? I
Yeah.
don't understand. So, Judy, why don't you introduce yourself, your media projects, your daily project, and what you've got going on?
Oh my gosh. So my company is called Little House Rugs. So, and I'm also the administrator of Rug Cooking Daily, which is a great kind of meeting place for people all over the world, where you can share your projects and you can ask questions, um, let people know if you're teaching a class, etc. As for what I'm working on right now, I'm working on a commissioned rug that's I think it's like 6 by 8 feet, so huge, and but they wanted a reproduction of their own rug. I offered to repair it, the old one. They said no, we really want to start over. So I'm just reproducing an old design.
Is that the rug that you sent me a picture of last night? Different rug.
No, that's I sent you that because it really encapsulates why I love rug cooking so much. I think the rug was made in
Ooh,
and anyway, you'll see on this rug that the person clearly ran out of materials, and so she just kept going, and there wasn't any rhyme or reason to the background, and the reason why I love that so much is because I think about the person who made it. It's so different. I don't have the courage to make a rug that's hodgepodgey because I have to always think, oh, color and everything has to balance. So if I'm going to use my leftovers, I'm going to design something so that that's what shows. But she didn't do that, and it's probably because she was not in a good economic place.
mm-hmm. Probably, yeah.
And probably it gave her comfort to make it and comfort to the family to put it on the floor so they had a warm place to put their feet.
Yeah.
And then all the joy that it gives me every day that I look at it 90 years later. So that's why I love rug cooking.
and I'm gonna try to show the image. I just tried to show it while you were talking, and it shorted you out. So I don't want to do that again. Let me see if I can
Okay.
pull up the image really quick without screwing up anything else. I want to see if you can all see this image. I'm hoping that you can. Judy, can you still hear me? No. So that kills the live. So let me go back to the live. But this is the rug that Judy's talking about. And you can see the point she's making with all of the different colors in the background. I'm going to come back here to be together again. It kills the ability for you to talk when I show
Yeah.
that scene. But I just
Yeah.
showed the rug on there. And let's post it again in the Facebook group so people can take a longer look. But
Great.
it really
Great.
does demonstrate that hodgepodge that you just described with all of the different colors, all the different shades of brown in the background, probably an economic thing, the running out. There is so much romance when you talk about rugs this way. And this is all, and a big part of your business too is your Facebook page, right? And your book Save That Rug.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Judy is great at repairing and restoring and obviously making replicas of rugs too, right? This is a huge
Mhm.
part of your business. So it figures that you would really appreciate and love some of these older pieces, even if they are imperfect. I think they're better because they're imperfect, aren't they?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to catch up for 1 second here because I see a bunch more people are leaving comments. Barbara said, Partners in Crime, so looking forward to Magpie Times. Judy says, I'm excited that you're mashing up different fiber arts. I've done a lot of dabbling last year in different techniques I've been wanting to try. So both things that you've dabbled in and, and new things you want to start. This year, I hope to start combining those techniques. That will be fantastic, won't it?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
we'll certainly give you the means to do that. Anne says, will the magazine be digital, hard copy, or both? Do you want to answer that one, Judy?
It can be
Hmm.
both, and I
Hmm.
think at this point we're going to go for both.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I think it's good. Because I noticed, gosh, I think it was Colleen in Canada. I noticed on her personal Facebook page yesterday, sort of unrelated, but she wrote a bit of a rant, which I really enjoyed about how things aren't in your hand anymore, and how there's lots of things that she's interested in, but they're only on the computer, and
Yeah.
she doesn't like sitting with technology. So
Hmm.
I think our group who follow you with your books and your Rug Cooking Daily and your page and everything that you do, and then the people who follow me, we overlap a lot in the philosophy of loving old things and finding that romance in old things. And I think the group of people who follow both of us have that feeling hardwired that it's nicer to hold something that's beautiful and tactile in your hands. If you're doing this craft, probably that is the nature of your sort of sentiment about of how you spend your time. I think particularly this group of people, with the exception of people who are international, and then it becomes a real shipping thing that becomes silly. But for people who are within the U.S., because Judy and I are both in the U.S., it might be that you want a hard copy, and it'd be great to be able to offer a hard copy and also the digital copy. If you are one of those people who have jumped into the 21st century, then that'll be there for you too. I think it's great to offer both. Let me see who else is coming in here. Let's see. Oh, Danny, great to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Great to see you. Sharon, I'm hoping for a hard copy. Yep, me too. And Pam says, wow, what a gorgeous rug. Oh, good. You all saw the rug. So, Judy, they saw the rug. That was good. It wasn't working well in tandem with what we're doing in a split screen, but I'm glad that you could see the rug. And Pam also says, I love a book in hand. Linda says, what a challenge to reproduce, for sure. It's a different one that she's reproducing, but it is a challenge to reproduce. I can also see, Judy, I can see why someone would want not the same rug fixed, but a new version, because if they're putting it down on the floor, it's gonna take some new abuse. So it would make a lot of sense for them to take a new rug and have, it's like getting the engine changed on your car, right? It's like a new car
Hmm.
all over again. I think Judy's freezing here and there, and I think the audio is working, but the video might not be working. So when that happens, I'm going to talk over because we knew that this could be a problem, but there are moments when it works so, so well. I know she's going to be back to us in just a second. Andrea says you would also like a physical copy, and yeah, yeah. Oh, well, we'll see how much it is to post. Andrea is also in the UK. There's a lot of people logging on from the UK, even from Australia, from far eastern parts of Europe. So we'll have to see what postage is from place to place. And Judy and I have talked a little bit about like the selling of the magazine as a physical product. So we'll hammer down the details of that. But I'm sure that we will create a situation because we both have Shopify stores as well. I'm sure that we'll create a situation where you can see what the shipping is to ship to whatever country you're in before you actually buy the thing, right? It'll always tell you those kinds of surprises are not good, right? And Sharon says, I really don't care how much the postage is, I'll pay. Well, that's the spirit. That's what we want to hear. Danny says, what's the name of the? It's a magazine, Danny. It's going to be called Magpie Times, and it's covering not just rug making, but fiber arts in general. So let's dig in a little bit because brainstorming is something that we want to do with you today. This is the first time, obviously, that we've been on together, that we just made the final decision this past week to go ahead with this magazine and to shoot for, what did we say, Judy, like February 17th for all sort of items to be in? And that is, we understand that that's quite soon. So I'm going to give some shout outs. And Judy and I are doing some of the heavy lifting, I think, for this first issue to get content out there. And then in the future, our hope is that more and more you all will be kicking in feature articles and images, things we can use for content so that the magazine stays fluffy and filled with free patterns and really lots of varied features. And we hope that it is a group project ongoing, right? Sharon says, are you keeping the Magpie graphic? Yes, we are keeping that. I love that. We've been, yeah, talking about that. Judy created that graphic of the magpie pulling loops up. So I love that graphic. I think that's absolutely perfect. Let's talk a little bit about the features, right? And about what this issue coming out in March. So the deadline will be February 17th. We hope that the magazine will be out and being shipped on March 17th so that we have a 1 month window to put everything together and assimilate all of the content that we have and get it out in a timely way. Because this will be a quarterly magazine that comes out in March, July, September, and December.
June.
March, April, May, June. You're right. March, June, July. Yes, you're right. Oh my God, I keep saying, thank you, Judy. I keep saying July, June. March, June, September, December. I think that's pretty perfect too. Because it hits at the beginning of the season. So like the September issue can also be like the fall issue and include Halloween stuff. And the December issue will come out right before, if you celebrate Christmas, the holidays, right? So that there'll be lots of stuff in there that's relevant that you can work on right then and there. I think I like the way that it's working out time-wise. So the first issue, the theme of the first issue is historic gardens. So I mentioned this on the last episode, I think it was with Kirsten the other night. Historic gardens. So I'm going to give you a few shout outs. Let's describe, and Judy, you jump in whenever you want. My mouth just runs. We're going to have quite a few features, and we're trying to kind of hammer that down right now. We would like some feedback on that in just a minute. I'll flesh the conversation for you a little bit more. But we're going to have a series of features. We're going to have, as I said, a page with like games, like maybe a word search or crossword. Whenever I put up these crossword nights, there's like hundreds of people downloading the crossword. That tells me you all like to do crosswords in your spare time. So we'll have fun stuff like that to accompany the various features. And we want different people writing different features from month to month. We will have some people who write on a fairly regular basis, like Judy and like me, like Rebecca Martin from Storyteller Wool. There's a few people. I'm also in touch with Janet Connor, right, as we said, and we're going to be working with her as well. And there's a few other people who are firmly sort of ensconced in the rug making world, who are people whose names you know, whose work you probably already love, people you already love and respect, right? It'd be great to have those people present regularly in the magazine. One of the shout outs will be, are there people who you're thinking of who you would love to see an article from or a regular feature from? who you would love to see as being present and represented in all of the issues or some of the issues. If there are names of people who you can think of that I haven't thought of, maybe Judy hasn't thought of, or people who I don't know yet who would be wonderful contributors to the magazine, that's something to shout out. That's something to let us know here or to send an email. I'm at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Judy, what's your email?
littlehouserugs@hotmail.com.
So you can write to either of us or both of us in CC if you have ideas as a result of this conversation. That's one of the things that I wanted to shout out. Do you have ideas for regular features? So while this is going to be a historic gardens issue, I mentioned I'm going to do an article on Gertrude Jekyll that includes at least one pattern. I know it's Jekyll, but I just can't say it. And then I would have to say Jekyll and Hyde, and I just can't. So I'm going to be incorrect. But I'm going to do an article on her. I'm going to do an article on the gardens in Newport, which is a place I've always been called Green Animals. It's quite close to me where I grew up. And they've got the topiary garden with all of the kind of shaved and carved animals. If you can contribute any photographs of any topiary gardens near you, that would help me with the writing of that article. I'm also doing an article on crochet, showing a vintage blanket and showing how to crochet the three-dimensional flowers, keeping with the theme of flowers that go with the garden. Judy, you're going to do some articles for this issue as well. Did you want to describe those, or do you want me to be a surprise?
No, it has to be a surprise.
Okay, it'll be a surprise. I need some help with those topiaries. And I happen to know that because this is also a chapter of the Second Design Like book, this subject. I'm doing a different handling of it for the magazine because it fits well. But I happen to know that like in Los Angeles, there's a famous gas station with tons of topiary animals outside, and I'm having a really hard time finding more information out. It's just an odd place to find topiary. So if anybody lives out that way, or you have photographs of that gas station, or something near you, some gardens near you that have topiary, whether they're cut into animals or they're cut into weird shapes, I could really use that for my article. So that is one of my shout outs. Some shout outs here. Okay, Angela says, hello, Angela Spring, where can I order the magazine? So that is a to be continued. Definitely on both of our sites, right, Judy? And we're looking for other places too. I also have an Amazon store, which I haven't, it's activated, but I haven't populated. That's a possibility. We will tell you all of the avenues where it will be available when we get closer to publication. So that will definitely be broadcast in a huge way so that people are. Judy, will it be also subscribing, not just issue to issue?
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So that'll be available too. When we get a little bit closer, right, we'll be able to see the shape of that better, do you think? Yeah. All right, so to be continued.
Next month we'll know.
Okay, next month. So we'll come at you next month with all of the details to be able to order it and to subscribe so that you're always there when the moment the issue comes out or is dropped. And Karen says, how about some stuff on natural dyeing? Interesting. I'm going to write these down. Let's see. Judy and I have had lots of talking about different things. So that is one of the things that we've been talking about.
You mentioned to me an artist in your area who dyes with her flowers that she grows herself.
Yeah, that's one of the shout outs. I have currently, if you remember the video when I went to the Massachusetts Fiber Festival, I think that was like in maybe September, maybe October. There was a woman there who was a huge part of that live video, and she grows flowers in Massachusetts. I think it's the western part of Massachusetts. She grows flowers for dyeing. So her whole stall was made up of all of these little, Ziploc bags of all the different flowers. And man, she got crazy colors, not just the expected browns and yellows, but she had like purples and really vivid reds. So I'm shouting out to her to see if she'll put an article together on dyeing with flowers, because this first issue is the flower theme or garden theme. So I'm hoping that she comes back with a yes on that. And then she would be able to advertise her shop in the article. So that's another facet of the magazine, is we're hoping to not do a lot with advertising, but we hope that any advertising that happens within the issues will be a result of somebody, for example, providing content like an article, and then in return are able to advertise their brand, their shop, what they sell, that kind of thing. So those are the kind of lines that we're thinking along. And as a viewer, if you're thinking, oh, there's someone near me that does this thing, it doesn't fit into this issue, but let me write that down because it might fit into a future one, or just it might, we can maybe make it fit square peg circle hole, where we need content in a future issue. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm working on now. Oh, there's lots coming in. I can't keep up. Hang on. Let's see. Sharon says, will you also cover punch needle? Absolutely, we will. In fact, Rebecca Martin, she's a great punch needle queen. She will be doing a regular feature always. And the feature that she has ready for the first issue, Judy, I sent you the photo yesterday. Absolutely beautiful. So she will have a huge presence as a punch needle teacher, and as a great maker, and her brand is Storyteller Wool. So she's a great sort of avenue for supplies, information. Judy, we should really do, I don't know, we haven't really fleshed this out, but we should really do like a letters page, do you
Oh
think?
yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people send in, so if people, if you see an article and you're like, oh, I love what this person was doing, but where did she get the thing? Or where can I get the thing? Or I was doing this and this got screwed up. How can I fix it? Any kind of letters, right? We should have like Dear Abby type letters. I'm beside myself. This is what happened. What should I do now? There should definitely be a feature where you're able to send in letters. So yeah. And hey, if you want to send in letters now that don't refer to articles, but refer to problems you've been having, problems you've solved, new things that you found that are interesting and exciting to work with. For example, Judy, I didn't even have a chance to tell you this today, but Nina, who often watches the show and is in the stream often, I think she's probably at work right now. She's in Hawaii. And I haven't shared this yet, but she sent me this beautiful FedEx because she had a store with lots of textiles, and she has a ton of Hawaiian bark cloth, right, which also fits really well into this vintage, into the subject of gardens. And she has been hooking directly into it and creating the most extraordinary pieces. So I said to her, why don't you send some of that in? We can probably use that in this issue. She is hooking into bark cloth. So talk about, I mean, this is something I have never heard of and I've never seen before. I would love to get, she sent me some other fun things too. She is so sweet. I'll share them more in a future episode, but she sent me a bunch of fun things from Hawaii, including a bunch of candies that I'm going to eat immediately after the show. But things like that, particularly with the topic of historic gardens, for this issue, because it's coming out in March, we want to be looking at lush flowers and gardens. We want to be hearing and reading your stories, right? Storytelling should be a big part of this. So if you have ideas for a rug or a design that you want to work on, even if it's like something small, a garden you have been to, your grandmother's garden, right? Something in your mind that really sticks out as when I think of gardens, I think of this place or I remember this thing. We're definitely actively and soon rather frantically looking for rugs that will fit this subject, whether they are brand new or not. If you have new patterns that you're working on that you think you can get done in a month and a half, fantastic, right? Because there will be a gallery area, and some people are already sending in images of rugs. Oh, I went to Barbara. Oh, I went to Scotland and I made this series of rugs a few years ago of gardens I visited there. Jane is working on gardens over near where she lives in Wales. There's people who are already starting to supply us with images of hooked and also quilting, also woven, anything, right? Supply us with images of gardens that fit the subject for this first issue, so that we have a great big fat gallery section filled with your images, and make sure that with your image you include Judy, I don't want to do like, how sometimes when you have to put a tag on something, it's like 50 words or less. I want to do like 50 words or more. you know, to say like, tell us what you were thinking and what you felt and why you did this, you know. Tell us what we're looking at. I never care about what cut the thing is done in. I mean, if you add that, I'm sure we'll include it. But for me, it doesn't mean anything to me. I want to know what that was behind it, the story behind it. So make sure that if you're going to provide content for this issue, that you're thinking about things that have been special and important to you that you love, and make sure you share the story with us so we can share the story in print. Sharon says the letters page would be a great idea. Okay, hold on. I missed a lot. Judy, it's coming at me fast and furious here. Um, Crystal says Rose Perlman. She's about to put a new book out called Making Things. Okay, Judy's got that. Did you write that one down? You want me to write it down?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
That sounds amazing. Making Things. Thank you. That's a great one. We'll look at that for sure. Pam says Pearl Friar Topiary Gardens in Bishopsville, South Carolina. Amazingly great. Thank you. That I'm going to write that one down too because that I'm going to need that. I'm going to need images. You know what? Let me just take Judy. Did you write that one down?
I did.
Okay. And let's see. Every time I look away, I get lost. Judy Phillips says a feature designer creator in each issue would be nice. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Karen Garby says would also love to hear from Melinda Bird. Oh, Melinda Bird, the Rhea rugs, right? She's in Delaware. The Rhea. No, she's in Maryland. I did an episode with her last year. She was fantastic. I agree. I would love to hear more from her too. She does the Rhea rugs, Judy, that are like the latch, but they're knotted with a needle rather than hook. Absolutely beautiful. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Sharon says letters to the editor. Yep, page would be great. Karen says Betty Ann Cormier, History of Chetty Camp. That's a great idea. Crystal, that crosses over with your family. That's a great idea. Betty Ann Cormier, great idea. And Linda Barney says, great suggestions, Karen. Pamela says, oh, love that fabric, that bark cloth, right? That Hawaiian bark cloth. That really is something. I'm going to wait and see if Nina responds because I'm really hoping that she'll do a piece. You know, if you're writing pieces for us, or you want to pitch an idea for a piece, oh, I'd like to do an article on this. It doesn't, Judy. You can chime in too, but in my mind, it doesn't. It's not like it has to be 6 pages, this many words, right? If you want to, if it's a larger article, great, right? If it's a page or a half a page, that's still great content and another voice. So all of that, in my mind and in Judy's mind, because she's nodding, is very welcome. So yeah, definitely be thinking about that. Pamela says maybe you could use a photo of my dad's hollyhocks that I did last year. Oh, of course, the winning piece, of course. Please send that, Pamela. That would be fantastic. That's perfect. And Judy Phillips says you're going to have such a hard time not letting each issue run to 300 pages. That's a good problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pamela Hunt says Judy Phillips, it would have been categorized as a catalog. Yeah. I guess we'll have to see how it shapes up, right, Judy?
I mean, anything we can't fit in is gravy for next time.
Absolutely.
Nothing's going to go to waste.
No, nothing's going to go to waste. We are thrifty people. That sounds good. You know, another feature that I forgot to mention, right? So this is something for everybody to think about. Another shout out. I would love if there was a feature in every article about a brick and mortar store, right? And again, it doesn't have to be rug hooking. I think it's important to kind of shore up there's not a lot of brick and mortar stores for crafts at all anymore. I mean, I see quilt ones. I see hardly any rug. I see hardly any needlepoint. It is like a dying animal. The whole idea of a brick and mortar store for craft supplies is really falling by the wayside quickly. So if you can think of brick and mortar stores near you where, you know, one who does a fiber art or craft might be interested in going for supplies or just shoring up the history and the legacy of a place that maybe you fear won't be there in a few years. Those are the kinds of articles that we're looking for so we can document some of these great stores that are here now while they're still there. That's one of the shout outs that I think is a keeper, right? Something to think about at 3:14 in the morning if you wake up. Let's see. Let me catch up one more time. I can see them flying through. And Pam says, okay, Karen says, I sent a couple of things to you last weekend via email. Did you get them? Karen, I probably did, but I might have thought they were for gallery night. So let me go back in there and check again. Um, yeah, make sure you can start sending content now. Anything to do with gardens. Now, I'm gonna kind of put some lingering threads out there to you, and the comments are coming in great today. Now, does anybody have any specific ideas, right, as we sit and think, either now or watching the recorded version later? If you're watching not in live time, please still put your comments on. Do you have a great idea for this issue? Like I say, even if it's a short idea, a half page idea, is there a great garden near you? Is there a historic garden? I'm waiting to see if anybody would like to write an article about, for example, an herb garden, because I know that there's one near me, like a colonial herb garden in one of the historical society's plots. But if someone else has a historic house near you that might have an herb garden, maybe you would like to write that article, take some of the heavy lifting away, right? Because I've got a few, Judy's got a few. If anybody, I'm dangling it, can do something like on the subject of an early garden like that, that would be amazing. I forgot to say, I'm also doing an article on seed packets, like the history of seed packets. That's like the low hanging fruit for me because one of the oldest seed Comstock manufacturers is like a couple towns away from me, and I go there a lot. It's like eye candy. So I'll be doing a feature on that too. But think about for yourself, are there gardens near you? Do you use your historical society? I bet there's gardens there. They're often linked. Sometimes there's someone there who's been gardening for decades, with a specific theme, or trying to recreate a garden of many years ago that's in keeping with like the property. Those are the kinds of things we would be super interested in having for this issue. Um, Judy, did you want to add anything?
No,
All right.
keep going.
I have more. I'm going to keep going. Hold on one second. I'm just
On a
going to take.
roll.
I was also going to say one of the other fun features that we want to have in every issue is a recipe section, right? I can see this being very, very fun. So for this issue on historic gardens, we are shouting out for recipes. Now, I was just saying to Judy, like salad, right? Like not something different. I was thinking, do you have? I know a lot of Italian families do like dandelion salad, something like that. I know a lot of people make wine with flowers. Maybe there are recipes in your family that have passed through generations that are unusual. So with this episode, many things grow in a garden that would fit the recipe page. But if you have something that you think is really unusual that we haven't heard about, or something different from your region or from your country, please send us that recipe. If you have a photo of it made, great. If you don't, we will use our imaginations. You usually don't get photos in recipe books anyway, but I think the recipe section would be super fun. That's just another way that we can all contribute. So, gosh, now I'm running out of steam, Judy.
Oh, cool. Okay. Um, I can just reiterate that you and I are both like bubbling with excitement
Mhm.
now. Like this is such a fun new thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's just too many ideas. We're just going to keep gobbling them all up, as many as we can, and then give them out to the world.
That's it, isn't it? The whole idea. Oh my gosh, Judy Phillips says violet lemonade. Okay, we need to have the
Oh,
violet lemonade in there. Without a doubt, that needs to be in there. And I particularly like that because of the season, right? When it comes out at the end of March, we are one foot in winter and the other on a banana peel. Everybody's thinking about spring. That is the kind of cheerful recipe that I think would be great for this issue. Karen says flowers that are medicinal you might find in a garden. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Um, Gosh, I wonder what we could do with that. I actually have a book on my bedside table that was published by the Historical Society in Wethersfield, Connecticut, from the Celestine House, and it's called. It's like a self-published book. It's called like Superstitious Plants or something like that, and it's all about through, well, or the first years of the Republic, early American history, what plants were considered superstitious, like the tomato was considered poisonous and deadly. And there was a lot of plants that were obviously used for medicine back then, and many of them had a lot of merit and are still used today. But yeah, that is an interesting subject. I like that a lot. Who does anybody know anybody that knows something on that subject? Because it doesn't have to be someone writing the article that is a rug hooker or a fiber artist. It would just be great content for an article. And if somebody, for example, could find or know somebody who does stuff with plant medicine, like for real, then they would be able to advertise in the magazine also, right? So that would be like a great tie in to that article. That's a great idea, Karen. I like that a lot. Pam says, my grandma's lavender tea cakes. There we go. That's another one that has to be there, lavender tea cakes. And Sharon says, ooh, lavender ice cream. All of those flower ice creams, right? There's a lot of flower ice creams. I've had lavender and I've had violet ice cream. Sometimes they're mixed with goat cheese, that kind of thing. It is so good. That's exactly what we want. Yeah, so shout outs for all of those things. And, like Judy was saying, this is a group project, right? This is going to be a group project every month. And because the first issue, right, we have no sort of stage set, right? We're doing extra shouting out. Future issues, I think, will be easier for things to fall together for us. But for this issue, coming out of the holidays and going into the bleakest time of the year, if you have it in you to do anything with content or making that will help us with this issue, it would be extra appreciated. Just because the first one is going to be tough, and we want the first one to be super special because it's going to represent what the magazine will look like. So it's really important for us to have a lot of good content, to have a lot of sort of personal storytelling in it, and to function as kind of, I keep saying, like a yearbook, right? Of all of our group backgrounds and talents and projects, all of the things that each person can bring, right? If you dig into your draw, right, and you can produce anything for this issue that would be helpful and fit the theme of flowers and gardens, that would be incredibly helpful. Um, what else? Let me check. Let me consult my list. Let's see. My mouth hasn't stopped running for a week, Judy, and now I feel like right. It's constant. We want to put a lot of free patterns in the magazine too. So this is an important thing. I think we both feel like, and again, rug hooking, right? I'm thinking of rug hooking patterns because I have a rug hooking company. Judy is a hooker. Judy hooks with yarn. We are heavy rug makers, but we do want this to be a publication that reaches way beyond rug making. In part because there's so many other crafts that we can do and enjoy together. And in part because I think for the magazine to be successful, for our brands to be eternally successful, we do need to reach over the aisle into other crafts that are larger than ours. We are very small. So it's nice to think about people who do crafts that are more visible, and more currently popular, like quilting, like needlepoint and cross stitch, like needle felting, all of these kinds of things. If you can think of makers, friends, people you know, people you've seen, people in your area who have businesses or are great hobbyists who might want to contribute content to the magazine, that would be amazing, right? Because we're not just thinking about rugs. Judy says, perhaps in your first issue, you could do a call for entries laying out the themes for the next several issues so folks could be thinking in advance.
I was just going to say that. My name's Judy too.
The Judys are thinking.
We're looking at historic gardens for number one, but if you're thinking spring, summer, fall, and winter, and if people have ideas or themes that we can work around, that just gives us something to it's a challenge to create.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I agree with that sentiment of putting kind of the cart before the horse, and be things that you would like to share, things that you would like to write, revolving around the themes, because it's a quarterly. Whether we like it or not, it is seen as a seasonal. So if you have things that you like for different seasons, we should be able to fit your content into a season, even if it's not an exact match for that issue's theme. We don't have to be
Yeah.
absolutely exact. We can break the mold. We were thinking about for the second issue the theme of the country fair, just because it's very broad. So trying to think on, I was thinking maybe the beach is too limited, or the ocean, too limited is what we think about with summer, but maybe not everybody. Maybe people who live in the middle of the country, they're not thinking that at all. The country fair is kind of one thing that transcends regions, I think, and even countries. And then we can be talking about animals, we can be talking about fair food, we can be talking about games and amusements, right? There's so much at the fair. It's kind of an all encompassing topic. So, another big, broad topic. But definitely do, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm about to embark on a project about fall trees, document it, take lots of photographs, because chances are we will be able to use that for the September issue. So be thinking more in terms of seasons, and as we come up, so we're two themes out, but as we come up with the next themes, we'll blast them out, so that you have tons of time to prep for them. I just had something right in the back of my mind that I was going to say, and now it's gone. Dang it! I hate it when that happens.
I'll
Um,
jump in.
yeah.
I love deadlines.
Hmm.
When I know I have to have something done, like you were saying about the trees,
Yeah.
if I know I have to have it done by October, I'm going to prioritize and I'm going to focus on that. Whereas if you just go, oh, I'd love to do a rug with a tree, and then there's no deadline, so stuff happens and your life goes on, and oh, I never did make that tree rug, did I?
Yeah. That is, I think that defines everybody, right? It's just, and then you are either better or worse at slacking and catching up at the last minute. I'm very good at that, but not everybody likes to work that way. So yeah, no, that's a great point. I was thinking, I was about to say, this is what I forgot: patterns, right? We want lots of free patterns, and if you have patterns that you would not mind us sharing as free patterns, that would be super generous and super welcome, because we would like to put free patterns in every issue. I'll put some in as we can get them. That it would be good if the patterns kind of fit the subject for the magazine roughly, but it would be nice to have quite a few free patterns in every issue, I almost said episode, because not everybody is set up in a craft, right, to buy tons and tons and tons of stuff, right? If we can share stuff and share images and say, hey, this one is up for grabs, this all is for you, use it however you want. Obviously private use, so like make it into a billboard in Times Square, but anything for private use, here you go. That would be very nice to be able to get drawings and sketches of pieces that you would not mind sharing as free patterns, and you would be obviously credited for them being your design. But it would be very nice to have a collection of different styles from different friends, that just represent different people, not just Judy and I. Lots of different voices. And along those lines, oh, Karen, that would be wonderful. Karen says I sent you a pattern you can share. Um, Pattern you can share in my email. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Karen. Awesome. I definitely didn't see that. I'm sorry. I thought it was a gallery night item, and I'm not there right now. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you don't mind, that would be great, right? We're not expecting it, but if you have stuff, that would be amazingly great. Um, and remember that what we're talking about is a magazine about fiber in general, with an emphasis on rug making. So if you think about your line drawing, do I have any near me? Yeah, here's one. This is one I never got to for autumn. Hold on. I'm going to knock down my. So if you have a line drawing, right, this is autumn in New York. I haven't done it yet. I still mean to do it. Um, think about it, right? And I say this all the time. This is going to be a rug pattern for me, and I'm probably going to hook it. But for someone else, this is a quilt applique pattern. And for someone else, this is a cross stitch pattern. They're just going to superimpose it onto a grid, right? Or a needlepoint pattern onto a grid. And then they're going to sort of realize each of the little spots with a different fiber and with a needle as opposed to a hook. It's all the same. Every pattern starts with a drawing, right? Without any exceptions. Even if you're needle felting, right, or doing miniature punch needle, any of these things, it's going to work the same way. So, with the exception of obviously like knit, crochet, and woven pieces. Now, I'm glad that I followed that thought through because I am not a weaver. Judy, are you a weaver?
I have
Mm,
woven.
you have
I
woven.
don't have a loom anymore.
I know a lot of people do like weaving, and a lot of people in this group, I think, like weaving. And it would be very nice to have a weaving feature. I just don't know what that looks like because I have not woven since I was an undergrad. And I just followed the directions of the nuns at that time, so I didn't have any creative thoughts in my head. But if it would be nice to have a regular or semi-regular feature on weaving, spinning, that kind of thing, just to appeal
Yeah.
to people whose favorite hobby is more weaving than hooking. So
Hmm.
something else to think about.
Um, you gave me an idea.
Mm-hmm,
When you get the free pattern in the magazine,
mm-hmm.
maybe at the end of the year, send us a picture of what you hooked of it so people can see how many different ways you can interpret a design.
That's a
Because
great
I find
idea.
that people see a rug and it's in a certain color scheme and they go, oh, that wouldn't fit in my house. Never mind. You can do anything you want. This is your coloring book. So I think I always encourage people to send me pictures of rugs that they've made of my designs because I want people to see that it's up to you. You make it the way you want. So,
I think that's great. I think
so
that's a great thought.
if you do it, definitely send us pictures of what you made.
Absolutely. I wonder if we should have I don't want to micromanage people, but I wonder if we should have a specific challenge in each issue.
Oh, I like it.
That would then make a feature for the next issue.
Uh-huh.
Or a challenge in each issue, because we talked about having either an issue, an extra issue in the year that was basically a yearbook of everything that you have done in, for example, 2024. So not necessarily stuff from last year or the year before, but stuff that you actually did this year with lots of text and storytelling. That would fit really well into an extra kind of bumper edition that would maybe
Yeah.
come out in like January, the beginning of the year when everyone is truly miserable, that kind of thing. But but yeah, I mean maybe we could think about doing a specific doing a specific challenge with a specific image and saying go for it. You want to latch hook, do it. You want to paint it, do it. Whatever you do, right? You want to write a song about it, do it, right? That would be fun. I like that. That's really fun. Linda likes that you said it's your coloring book. That is very nice. Krista likes that as well. That's the perfect way to put it. I love that idea. Like the Pam says, I like that idea. Like the little mat exchange we do on ribbon candy hooking, the one that Jean Coates does. Yep, that is always such a fun thing. I'm hoping that she wants to contribute something on the ongoing rug exchanges because she has sort of pioneered that, and that is her project entirely. And there have been so many rug exchanges at this point, and I'm sure future rug exchanges. She does so well with that. That's a good crossover. Let me see. Sorry. Oh, Judy Phillips says, sorry, I'm poking my nose in a lot. No, you're not. Perhaps folks could put magpie. Oh, that's a great idea. Perhaps folks could put magpie in the email subject. That's a great idea. Ow. And
Oh
and
no,
keep
I'm thinking magpie rugs. Send us that.
that would be good. That would be good. See, Karen, you didn't put gallery into that, so I should have known it wasn't a gallery because you're always very good about labeling. Let's do that. That's a great Judy. Keep coming with the Judy Phillips. Keep coming with the suggestions. You're not poking your nose in. It's very very thoughtful and helpful comments. It is good to put magpie because both Judy and I get a lot of mail about a lot of different stuff, and if we know that these are magpie, we can drop them into our specific folders and then talk to them when we talk to each other regularly about your ideas and what you've sent. And that's a good way to be able to centralize all of the images and ideas you're sending. That's a really good idea. Let me make sure that we're caught up here. I think we are. I think we are. So let's see. We're getting there. We have a five. Oh, wait a minute. Linda Ann. Oh, Linda Ann, good to see you. Happy New Year. Since you mentioned you're starting this, I've got at least three magpie rug ideas. I'm sure. Hurry up! Hurry up!
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like okay, so it's the third week of February that we're needing this stuff, and I know that sounds super soon, but like Judy's saying, it is good to have a deadline sometimes. It really gets you mobilized, and maybe if you're working on a project right now that is not agreeing with you for whatever reason, it's maybe put it down and work on something fresh. It's wonderful. It's such a good confidence builder. It's such a good feeling to see your work in print. So us having your work and representing you in print is a really big thing. And please don't be thinking, oh, I wonder if it's good enough to submit, right, Judy? We don't like that kind of, no, we don't like that kind of
No,
thing.
I'll just tell you a quick story before we
Mm.
close up. Um, Someone brought me a kit. I mean, they hooked the kit that I sold them, and I was in a show, and she came and she said, I wanted to show you this finished thing. And I said, if you're going to be around all weekend, do you mind if I post it in my booth, and then and then you can come get it at the end. Well, I sold so many of that kit because I put a sign on it, said this is her first time,
Hmm.
her project. And so the thing is that if you are making it for your first time and you share it, it's like you're sharing with everybody else who hasn't quite got the guts to get started, and they go, oh, if that was her first project, I could probably do this. So I always encourage that. And
Yeah.
also they're much nicer than you may think. They don't need to be perfect because we just love them.
We absolutely love them. Like the rug you were talking about at the beginning, right? It's not, the background is a whole hodgepodge of color. It's a bit of a pig's breakfast in the background, but that is what gives it that incredible charm and sweetness, and it lends itself to so much. Making up stories in your head, your imagination just takes over. Um, the prettiest pieces for me, the prettiest examples of rugs are the really old ones that are super naive and folky. I just love
Me
the
too.
feel of the impressions that come through when the lines are looser. When everything is very, very tight, for me, it's all very literal, and those are beautiful rugs to look at. But for me personally, I love looking at things that kind of are looser, right? Are a bit more naive. I feel like there's more creativity and expression in those pieces. And beginners, right there, just like children and art, right? Children and their drawings, it's the same thing. There is something so special that is so great to capture when you're a beginner at something new. So, and again, not just rug making, but quilting and lots of other mediums, right? Judy, what do we want to say about like people sending files? What kind of quality? Because this is a language I don't know.
Ideally, for print, pictures would need to be 300 dots per inch. Now, for the digital magazine, I can resize those so they look good online and don't take up too much space. Um, yeah, we do need, pretty high quality for print.
Yeah,
And if it comes in and it's not the best quality, we'll just contact you and maybe you'll send a different file and we'll work with that.
that's perfect because even for me, right? I'm turning 52 next month. I am so bad with the phone, and I never know if I'm taking a high quality or a low quality thing until I send it or try to use it, and then it's like it's too big, and I'm like, why is it too big? The last one wasn't too big. What's.
Um, a picture that you take with your phone is fine. Just send that
Okay.
because I can resize that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
phone photos, great. And
Mhm.
and it gives you some time, right? Because I know for myself, if I need help with something technical, I need to ask my children. So if you have the same situation where, I mean, all the editing, that's Jocelyn. I just can't. But you might want to ask like a daughter, son, grandchild, whatever. So it may be some lead in time to say, do you know how to use my phone? Do you know how to take a photo and send a photo? A little bit of lead in time for doing that, but like Judy's saying, being super forthcoming, she can resize things for the digital version, but we want high quality stuff for the magazine too, because there's nothing worse than seeing a blurred image in a magazine. It just doesn't do justice to the work, right? So don't
And
overthink that.
and if possible, telescope. You want to avoid telescoping. Get as flat as you can of the whole image. And I find that if it's rectangle or square with your phone, you can zoom in the image a little and make sure, oh yeah, all the edges are where they need to be.
Yeah, I do that
Um,
sometimes. You mean
yeah.
don't take a zoom picture?
No, I just mean as you took the
Yeah,
picture, now look at the edges and
yeah,
see.
yeah,
That's just a guide. And of course with brown dogs you can't help that. And we'll take a telescope picture if that's all we can get.
yeah, yeah.
But
That makes
it's just something
sense.
to think about.
No, that's a good tip. You just reminded me of something else. Oh, I have a pro. You probably all have the program Paint.net, right? Because sometimes I remember with the book projects I've worked on, sometimes people send me a picture of a rug and it's like this, right? And paint.net actually has the program itself. You go into the layer section and it does this.
Wow.
And while
Wow.
you think there would be a lot of distortion, there never is. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Wow.
It's like magic. So even if you send us imperfect photos, Judy and I will do our best to be able to make them look super professional and crystal clear. And Kirsten says maybe an article on photographing rugs. That's not a bad
Huh.
idea.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. You know, having practical articles too, on stuff like that, on stuff like transferring, on stuff like how do I glue the back on something, even though we typically don't glue, sometimes we do, depending on your whatever you're doing, right? Technical articles like that, I think, is a good idea. You know, they are not like the super cushy, pretty ones, but they're very necessary and help people with little problems.
I have a question for you, Deanna.
Yeah.
How do you make your designs with the grid on top of it?
Oh, in one of my computer programs, one of the options. Oh gosh, I'll have to think about what program that is. I think it is. I think it's still Paint.net. I think one of the layers is you can drop a grid.
Good. Okay.
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that I don't know a lot of programs. Paint.net is the only one that I'm really good at using, and the fact that they let you add multiple layers to one piece, I
Mhm.
think it's Paint.net. I will just double check though.
Okay.
That's a good question, because it is great to drop a grid. We might want to drop a grid for all of the patterns that people send in. You
I
know,
think so.
yeah, because then you can, if you don't want to go to Staples or you're just not in that mindset and you're like, well, I'm going to do the grid thing, like from school where you're like, okay, this is the top of the ear. Here we go. Top of the ear. This is the bottom of the ear, and you just want to do it like that. I mean, that still works, doesn't it?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Using a lot of technology isn't necessary, but I love Kirsten's idea of doing some technical articles like photographing rugs. That'll help
Okay.
us at the beginning too. Um, Kirsten, you don't want to do that article, do you? Talk about putting her on the spot, right? Um, that would help a lot of people, I think, feel more confident about submitting stuff. Um, yeah. Let's see. Pamela says mounting and framing rugs. That's another great idea.
Oh yeah.
That's a great idea. That's always a thing. What do I do with it now? Crystal says Procreate is a fun program too. Procreate. Oh, interesting. I don't know that one. Let me write that down. Um, yeah, it has to be. I'm so not computer literate for me to be able to use something. It has to bear some kind of resemblance to other programs I've used
Hmm.
successfully. It's
Hmm.
not a lot. And okay, and let's see. Kirsten says maybe an article about using a grid to transfer patterns. Yeah, why not? It's been a long time since anyone's done that. That could even be a half a page, right? Showing how to go from one pattern. Because gridding something at home and being able to scale it to whatever kind of scale you mean to work in, is a simple thing and doesn't require really a computer or a ride. But the simpler the lines are, right? It is easily something you could do at home. That's a great idea. I like that. And Kirsten also says we can talk about it. I'm hoping there is someone who is more experienced than I am. So official shout out if anybody can write an article, even a small article for this first maiden issue, to help people feel more confident about photographing, tips for photographing your work, whether it's rugs or blankets or whatever, yarn or whatever it is that you do, photographing it as best as you can so that you can kind of sign it off to us and we have something to work with that's already like, fantastic. That's a good situation to be in. And Crystal says it's user friendly. So Procreate is user friendly if anyone wants to design patterns. Crystal, thank you. That's really thoughtful that you would share that. I'm going to check that. I'm going to check that out. It might even be within my wheelhouse, which would be really saying something. So let's just do a quick recap because we're over time. Lots of shout outs. We are for this first issue, Historic Gardens, looking for shout outs, people who might want to write an article, even a very small column on the subject of historic gardens. Maybe you don't have time to execute a piece in fiber that sort of communicates the theme or the visual that goes along with the article, but maybe you can just draw it or use a photograph just to get us there for this first issue. Those are all things that we would be interested in right now. Gallery items we definitely need that have to do with gardens and flowers. And please go on the lavish side with the text that you send. right? We want something personal. We want something that expresses you and your personality and the background to the piece, right? More than just the technical info. Make sure that you attribute pieces that are commercial patterns, but more than that, tell us a little bit about it, right? We want to dig in a little bit more. Your recipes, unusual like recipes, historic gardens, but that you can think of that would be great going through the summer when this issue will come out. Brick and mortar shops that you might want to bounce off of us for future issues. Um, Ideas for more features that you would like to see, letters that you start writing that we could include in the first issue. I'm a beginner, or I've been doing this for a while. Even letters just to say, oh, I've been rug hooking for 50 years and I started this new series and I'm super excited. And, your letters can be about anything. They don't particularly have to be questions, they can just be from you. And it gives us great content and conversation starters that we can share as part of a regular feature. Am I missing anything, Judy? I'm sure I am.
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
No. No, I think we hammered it pretty good. I think we done good. So, Judy, huge thank you for coming on this morning at very short notice. It's great to flesh out the shape of a new magazine, and it's exciting. And I know between you, your public, Rug Hooking Daily, there are a lot of people there who will be interested in a new magazine, and hopefully interested in contributing. And right here at Ribbon Candy Hooking on the YouTube channel, but also in our Facebook group, Rug Hooking and Bunch Needle Club, I hope that there are a lot of people who will want to pull up their sleeves and dig in and get going with some of these great issues. It'll be great to see your work and your issues and be able to show that to your family and your friends, right? Great feather in the hat, isn't it? So, okay, Procreate is iPad phone only. Okay, just so you know. Okay,
Oh,
Procreate is iPad. Does that mean it's an Apple?
I bet it is.
Okay, okay, all right. Poops, because that sounds really good. And I have a stupid Samsung. Busy times ahead, Andrea. That is true. Pamela says, so enjoyed this. Can't wait to see Magpie Times evolve. And says, love all this. Super exciting. Getting the juices flowing. Good luck with the project. Thank you so much. Send your questions in to either Judy or I. Again, we'll say our emails. Mine is ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. And Judy, you are
littlehouserugs@hotmail.com.
perfect. We are looking for your input with the title of Magpie coming in so we know that's where it goes. And I will see you all next. Thank you so much, Goretti and Linda. Thank you so much for being here. Share, right? Share all of this great info with other people. Get other people involved. It is a great chat. I'm also so excited. There's a lot of excited people, Judy. And otherwise, I will see you next time. I will see you on Friday for cocktail night. That will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Judy, huge thanks to you again. And everybody else,